So I heard you say earlier, Kostya, that you were wanting a little bit of background information on the game and maybe some
Sure.
prep.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of prep, I really didn't do much because as Gauri's gotten a little bit older, she's kind of changed up her repertoire a little bit. It's funny that you say older when you're talking about somebody who's maybe 13 years old or 12 years old or whatever, but she's actually played in the World Youth before. She's been taking lessons with Eric Rosen for a number of years. So, she's been around the tournament scene, not only here in Wisconsin, but really internationally for quite a few years now. So she changes her repertoire a bit here and there from time to time. So I wasn't really sure what she was going to play. And the last several times I had played her, I had actually had white. So all I knew is that pretty much every time I run into Eric, whether it's in St. Louis or anyone else or anywhere else, he would tell me, "Oh yeah, I just saw one of your games against Gauri." Yeah, not good. So I tried to bring a higher level of focus this time, just so I could get a little revenge against Eric as much as anything.
Nice.
But no, so I wasn't surprised when she played the London, but to be brutally honest, I just kind of winged it through the opening and just tried to to develop logically.
Okay, let's take a look then.
Yeah, so pretty topical line. I mean, London system is all the rage, and Eric is very well versed in this. So if he's teaching this to his students, then they're probably going to know it pretty well.
I learned the London to beat it, and then I joined the London, so you know.
Yeah, see, that's what I feel I should do is just start playing it, so I'm not the only one, right?
Oh, actually, I'd like to interject here, if I may. So I personally think that the London against Knight f6 is not as strong as a London against d5 because it gives black more flexibility, right? So if anyone watching wants to play London, you might want to start with Knight f3 here, right? Just to see if black plays d5 or e6 or g6, and you can kind of adjust your repertoire based on that. So for the white players there, I think that Knight f3 is a better starting move order than Bishop f4, because Bishop f4, black can play c5, can play g6, can play e6, can play d6, like Chris did, right? So definitely something to think about there. But go ahead, yeah.
So Chris, Zim is asking. This was a tournament game, right? And what was the time control?
Game in 100.
Okay.
And yes, it was a tournament game.
Got it.
Okay, go ahead.
And then to speak to what Gauri was just saying a moment ago, yeah, typically I'll play the King's Indian as black, so I like playing these King's Indian setups against the London. Again, I didn't know that's what she was going to play going into the game, so it's not like I prepped any specific ideas, but just in general, I just like these setups against the London.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, I guess this is up my alley then, because I'm the King's Indian guy here. But what are you gonna do if white plays Knight c3 though?
Knight c3? It's a good question. I'd probably still just play g6, or is there a trick I'm missing?
Well, then we're just we're playing a perk.
Okay.
But do you play the perk?
Nope.
So this would be an issue.
Yes, it would.
So you have to be a little bit careful here. I think you should go for this move order, so that Knight c3 you could play d5.
Okay.
I agree. Yeah, this is something that I fear as white actually when playing Knight c3. People playing d5 and suddenly I can't play e4 and I can't play c4, and my knight's kind of in a bad place here. So sorry, knight's kind of in a bad place, right? So this opening, I think black is doing fine theoretically here. Completely fine.
Yeah, I mean it's playable, but yeah, black is totally.
I mean, for the audience,
totally
I can show a trick line there.
Sure.
G6, Knight c3, d5, e3, Bishop g7. So here, watch out for this move, h4. It's a trick line. I've taught this to my students, and a lot of people have fallen for this with black.
Yeah, Eric likes this.
So even title players fall for this in real games. So castle. And then it seems like a bullet move, but actually h5, super strong.
Yeah.
It's already like clearly worse for black. Gh5 is just horrible, obviously. You put a knight h5, and then rook h5. And this position is it's like +1 for white, because you're gaining bishop d3, attacking this. You're getting your knight to g5, and somehow, let's say this knight ends up going to f6. your queen can drop back to h2 and attack c7. So like, white's just crushing here, completely crushing. Yeah, this is just completely crushing with, I mean, I can check with the engine right now, it'll say like +1, plus 1.5. So even if black plays knight d7, bishop d3, knight f6, queen h2 is a really strong move, I think, attacking the pawn. And now black is just in big trouble here, big trouble. White will even castle queenside and then bring out the rook to h1, and basically black is getting creamed here, completely crushed. So for that reason, I'm out. I mean, for that reason, if anyone wants Shark Tank, h5 is the best move. Castling is definitely out. H5 is the best move. Then you don't have to worry about this. Okay, and then the game goes on. Then white will actually try for some knight b5 tricks in the future, but maybe not right now, but wait for black to play c5, then knight b5 stuff is happening later on. So probably bishop knight f3 or bishop b2 is the line. But yeah, that's just a taster of what can happen. d5 is good, but not without any danger. So yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I've actually had this position with h5 a couple of times. I like it a lot for black. I think it's
if black knows what he's doing, right?
Pretty simple to play. Yeah. So yeah, we have to be careful here with the move order. But if your opponent is only playing London, then you can still do this because you know they're not going to go knight c3 because like it's not really part of their repertoire. Although I was hit with this once, and then I decided to play. I decided to play g6, e4, knight c6. Kind of, yeah, playing my pet line where I play like e4, knight c6.
Yeah, I gotta learn this knight c6, knight f6 stuff against d4 to confuse my opponents here.
And it's actually kind of nice against the bishop on f4 because when white goes d5 like he did in the game, instead of playing knight ba, which I think is fine, but okay, a little bit slow, here black has e5.
Right.
And then dc6, ef4, this is fine for black. Otherwise, like, white moves the bishop, and then black is putting the knight on e7. Then you have, like, I think, totally fine king's Indian.
Oh, just remember that there's actually a beautiful game I saw in the U.S. Women's Championship with this line, similar line, not knight c6, though, where black just completely takes advantage of the drawback of bishop f5 by playing a per-collect game, where white doesn't really know what she's doing. And I can, later on after this game, I can definitely show that game where how to attack, with perk style. When you play someone who plays London and gets tricked into some perk stuff, and then plays normal automatic moves, but ends up in a really bad position. So you can remind me of that at the end to show a game. Okay, go ahead.
Sure. Oh yeah, and if d takes e6 there, then I think black just takes with the bishop and should be doing pretty all right. Just all the pieces get developed. So all right, let's see. So knight f3, knight d7, c4, c5, and bishop g3.
It's kind of weird, right? Yeah, I don't really get the last move, especially by white.
Bishop g3 is a little bit.
I think it shows the unfamiliarity for white. She doesn't know the theory against this d6, and then she's playing like London when they play bishop g3, retreating the bishop. But this is a totally different
it's not like
scenario.
It's not like black play like bishop d6.
Yeah,
and white goes bishop g3.
Exactly. I tell my students, like, don't follow anything simple. If somebody plays something different in your opening, just don't blindly follow the same setup. Like, play your game. Just be courageous and just be confident in your abilities and find solutions to the problems at the board instead of just cagey and going back to your cage in a comfort zone. Happens a lot, actually.
No, honestly, it's one of the most common things I see when, like,
most common mistakes.
Yeah, the opponent plays just like it starts as a mainline opening like Caro Kann or something, but then they start making random moves, and of course white just like sticks to their like usual setup, just like repeating the moves almost blindly. I mean, it's
right. I don't know. I was playing Tommy, another someone who watches my stream, and he played the exact 12 moves of the opening, even though I was playing Hippo. The exact 12 moves of his setup with black. And I was playing Hippopotamus, just h3, g3, a3, and it didn't help at all. Like, it was like, what are you doing here? You should be trying to kill me here against a hippo.
Right. Okay, so Chris, what move were you expecting here other than bishop g3?
I was just expecting some normal developing move, like knight to c3, maybe e3.
What about d5? What about just pushing?
I think I would have been okay with d5. In fact, a little bit later, I entice her to play d5. That seems to me like my dark square bishop won't be such a shut-in after I play g6, right?
Yeah. I think I think d5 is good for black, or at least equal. If black plays quickly, probably. Not right now anymore. So the game that I was about to show, the U.S. Women's Championship, was something similar. And what black has to do is to play some quick b5, really, really quickly, like extremely fast, even a bit earlier probably. Can he do that? Let's say, even now.
So before g6?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I could be wrong here, but why not? The bishop on f4 is weakening the b2 pawn, so I think that maybe you could try this. I mean, you're a d4 player, Kosi, so you know more about this than me, but I feel like it's a better version of Benko, maybe?
Well, let's put it this way. This position after g6 and e4, this is a big problem for black, because we have a Benoni where black hasn't gotten in the e6 break, and so we're not getting like the play on the e-file. And so usually these kind of Benonis where no pawns have been traded, no pieces have been traded, black really struggles for space, because white just has to play like h3, and then black will have almost no moves in the position.
I agree.
So to me, this position seems like a big problem, which means like, yeah, I would take almost any Benko over that. So even if it's like not a great Benko, I would at this point probably prefer something like this. But I feel like maybe c5 is maybe not the way to go, unless Chris, you're like specifically looking for like a Benoni or Benko or something like that.
No, nothing like that. I mean, I'm somewhat comfortable in Benoni structures because I play the black side of the Spanish. So I'm sort of used to some of the Benoni structures, but here I just like the one thing I wanted to not do in this game was just sit back and start playing. Like I wanted to challenge for the center is why I played c5.
I see. No, I mean it definitely makes sense. I just think in general, I don't know if it's a 100% rule, but a lot of times black tries to play c5 before knight d7.
Okay.
So that when white goes d5, because then whenever you go e6, you have problems with the d6 pawn, because white just goes like d takes e6, even without the bishop on f4. And then the other thing is that in some cases you might want to like pile onto the pressure with knight c6, where it's just more actively developed with pressure against d4. Once you play knight bd7, I think in most cases you're kind of committed to playing for e5 now, which is, I mean, a totally normal plan, but knight d7 first and c5 I feel like doesn't quite jive here.
Right, okay. Disconnected. It's disconnected with the plan of c5.
Okay.
But that's once white plays c4, then white is kind of showing the drawback, because a lot of London games, like for King's Indian players, will go like this, like bishop e2, castle say h3, black goes c5, c3, and then black often goes for this kind of setup here. So I've played this a few times.
Yeah, this is nice. The reverse ready opening, and white's playing London system.
Yeah, in here c5 made sense because white was kind of committed to, well, hadn't played c4 yet. If white had played c4 earlier, then I think black should switch it up. But c3 is kind of designed to like blunt the bishop, and so usually white is playing the London with the intent of putting the pawn on c3. Putting it on c4 I think is a little bit less popular. And so then you kind of know, okay, c5, white isn't going to be able to push d5 so easily. Okay, I feel like it's kind of getting a little bit into the details, but hopefully maybe it's still useful for some King's Indian players, because a lot of people have to deal with the London, and it's not so easy.
Yeah, right. Let's go forward,
okay, so bishop g3, yeah, definitely slow. And yeah, basically I think on every move white should just be playing d5 here, and I would probably take white, but okay, she didn't want to. So bishop e2, b6. Okay, now really really upping the ante for white, right? And then finally takes the bait with d5.
Finally.
Yeah, so and I'm kind of gathering by what you're saying, Kostya, that maybe white's quite a bit better here after playing d5. But I played b6, bishop b7 with the idea of trying to entice d5 to give my dark squared bishop a little bit more scope.
Interesting.
But now I'm thinking maybe just to leave, from what you're saying, maybe leaving the pawn tension as it was is a better idea for black instead of, or I guess white wants to play d5 regardless, right? So what does white gain from playing d5 that's not offset by the dark squared bishop having more scope now?
So it's basically just getting the space, I think, is really important here for white. Because then basically it's hard for black to come up with a constructive plan here.
Right, and I guess like ever trying to get e6 in maybe doesn't work so well because at the end of the day I wind up potentially with a backwards d-pawn that's going to be ganged up on pretty quickly.
Yeah, I mean, tactically, e6 is hard to achieve, and then, yeah, strategically also could be a problem.
Okay. I got a question from Mitch here. So why didn't black play bishop c takes d4 earlier? Much earlier maybe. And I was thinking about this too, actually, but, to avoid this d5 space gainer move, could he have played, whoa, Dekai with 10,000 bits in the chat. Thank you so much, Dekai.
Wow.
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much.
Awesome.
Way to make an entrance here. Dekai, please check out Kostya's stream too. He's a great guy, and please check him out here. It's the link. Everyone who's thank you so much again. So the question, let's answer the question anyway. Why not c takes d4 first? Sometimes earlier or anytime in this sequence of moves. Why can't black just take the pawn? So I'll let you answer that first.
Oh, a question for me or for Chris?
Okay. For you, Kostya.
Oh, sorry. I think taking on d4 is reasonable, but I'm not always clear on when you should like relieve the tension and when it's better to just keep the pawn. Here I don't see a particular reason to take. There are some cases where maybe black takes and then goes like knight h5, and this is possible because the idea is that, okay, the bishop goes to h4 and then the f4 square is available for the knight. So maybe if you have some concrete reason like this, you can make it work. But
I actually like this idea to play ed4 now, because now black has a little bit more space, right? Somebody just subscribed, sorry, but
nice.
Thank you for the subscription, Tone Carbo. Yeah, so shouldn't we go for this and play e5 break maybe? Let's say knight to h5 immediately. I don't know, it's kind of awkward, but we can try this, and then we trade off the bishop, and then we go for e5, getting some space and our fair share of the center here.
Yeah, I think this is playable. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, should I check with the Stockfish and cheat? Should we check?
We can. I don't know.
Okay, let's see.
I'll do it.
Okay, I'm doing it too. Computer actually likes immediately to play knight h. Okay, this is a Stockfish at a lower depth though. I'm just gonna check out this ideas. Yeah, it likes it. It likes it more. It says this is the best variation for black.
Nice.
C takes d4 and then knight h5, and with the plan of e5. So, Chris, this actually makes your knight bd7 into a good move, right? Right. And the reason you took on d4 is because now d5, but you got a nice square on c5. You know. So let's keep going here. Takes, and we go e5. Let's say even now I think it's a good move. Although the computer says to play e6 first. That might be a slow approach. It's like a hippo approach. e6, b6, and bishop b7. But let's say e5. Yeah, then d5. Now, as you can see, we got rid of this e pawn, so we have a central majority here. We have two center pawns, as opposed to white having only one center pawn. Plus, we have a nice square for our knight, and we can play a5 to secure the. This is kind of an artificial outpost for the knight, right? I mean, it's really hard for white to play b4 now. So we have this nice pawn majority on the queen side, central majority, mobile center that can keep pushing. So just the absence of the e3 pawn and the c5 pawn actually benefits black so much to the point that it's like you want a pawn here. Maybe two pawns.
This is like, I mean, this looks resignable for for white.
Dream. Yeah.
But I mean, probably white doesn't go d5 here, like, and just give up all the dark squares.
Yes. I think Bridgeport Mitch just summed it up saying that white loses center pawn and then gives some dynamics to black here, right? But you just reduce the influence of white's center basically by taking on d4.
No, I mean there are drawbacks to taking on d4. For instance, like you open the e file, and then in some cases like the e pawn becomes a target. So I don't necessarily think it's right to take on like in every position.
Like every position, yeah.
But here I think it's specifically because of this concrete like knight h5, and if white goes bishop h4, then we have knight f4. Because otherwise I think knight h5 on its own would just be like a perfectly good move, but this move is especially annoying for white because now it's like we're trying to snag another bishop. They're not going to go bishop f1, so it's like okay, now black is just trying to steal a bishop.
Trading a minor piece also helps black because black has less space here. White has 2 pawns that are in the 4th rank. Black has none on the 4th rank, so trading a pair of minor pieces definitely eases black's position.
Yeah, so but okay, I mean it's like a totally standard idea. I mean there are many lines where it takes, then okay, knight c6, queen b6 kind of follows up this way as well. So I think it's reasonable. I do like it more than b6 bishop b7 because like I mentioned, I think d5 was already a good idea for white, so inducing it here is probably
it's helping white make a good move, kind of like essentially. Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Okay, so h6, and then your next move after this was knight h5.
Correct.
Oh, so you're just preparing this so you can go like g5?
Yeah, so I can go g5 if needed, correct.
Okay.
I like the spirit of the idea of knight h5 to get the bishop pair and trade off a pair of minor pieces if it works. Because black, and I don't see a good plan for black except for knight h5 actually, if it works.
Yeah, other than knight h5, there's not much to do. So what if white plays h3 then?
That's a good move.
Yeah. Honestly, I assumed she would play knight h3. And, here I've got my work cut out for me. It almost seems like I have to figure out a way to... I mean, I guess I probably still play knight h5, bishop h2, knight to e5 maybe.
That wouldn't work tactically because it opens up the bishop to the knight.
Oh, you're right.
The problem with the position for everyone watching is that the black doesn't have any pawn breaks. There's no way to free black's position, open up the position. White has controlled the b5 break and the e6 break for the most part. So that's why black has trouble freeing his game. Right?
Yeah, I mean, it's just lack of space. The other issue, like even without this, like knight on h5, is why would just go like knight d2 here, and then like f4, e4, and basically just kind of just blow black backwards.
Yeah, could black sack a pawn with prepare the b5 break anyway? Like I played an IM, and I had a similar position. Okay, not as bad as this with black, and he played like knight to e8, knight to c7. A6 and B. He just forced his way through.
Yeah.
It was a pawn sack. I mean, it was bad for him, but it kind of fought back, and I had to use up a lot of time on my clock. And I had a good position. I was up a pawn, but I ended up drawing the game anyway. So
no, I actually think it's a good plan. I mean, okay, let's say for a blitz game, it's definitely reasonable. Obviously, it's like a classical game, so it's a very risky position to play, but at least it's like something you can do, and it's not easy for white to like push their advantage here because they really have to like push all their pawns, and they have to get like f4, e4, e5, and they have to play aggressively to like win here. Otherwise, like black can definitely stir up some counterplay. Even their idea is like you just give up the bishop on c3 and then just play like a6, b5, and you just play for the better structure. And the idea is actually that like white's bishop on g3 is kind of restricted if white isn't getting this like e4, e5 break.
Although here, I don't know if I'll give up my bishop because this guy is just waiting to attack me. But yeah.
Okay, one threat,
awesome.
but yeah.
Okay.
No, but I mean, at least the knight e8, c7, a6, b5 plan is active.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right?
Something
put
to
pressure
do.
on the pawn. Yeah, I like this idea.
But I guess if you're gonna play knight h5, then maybe just do it right away. Bishop h4, and then go h6 here. Oh, there is knight d2.
Yeah, knight d2, classic idea, right? To attack the, very classic.
and then I don't really know how we feel about this.
That would not be good.
I don't like that.
Really, you guys don't like this one?
I mean, if I'm white.
Okay. Should we check with the engine again and cheat and kind of cheat to see what the computer would play here to get some insight?
No, I mean I'm sure the engine will think that position's better for white, but I actually do think this is playable. Like,
wow, you're not joking.
no, this is like a legitimate pawn sacrifice.
It's hard for me to sometimes you joke around for us. It's hard for me to pick up on if you're being sarcastic or not. And
okay, well, let's play a few moves then. Let's not use the engine. Let's just
okay, no engine. Okay, whose turn is it here? Oh, it's white's turn.
White
so I'm playing white, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Okay, queen g4 it instantly springs to mind, but then I guess you can even I don't know, sack a pawn with knight f6. I mean, I can just pick up the pawn, just pick it up. Okay, I'm gonna pick it up.
Okay.
Pick it up like daycare. Go ahead.
Let's see. Maybe we can go.
I mean, knight f6 is only move, right?
What
Or
about
you want to go king h8?
this?
Whoa, okay, e6. That's crazy. Maybe a good move, actually, now I think about it. Wow. Impressive move, actually.
I was looking at that, but then I thought the check on e6 by the queen was problematic.
Yeah, but at least you're getting activity, I guess. The bishop is now a monster, like, nice bishop. Where's the bishop emotes, guys?
Okay.
Yeah, bishop is, I'll take the pawn again, maybe. At least black has some play here, I mean.
Yeah. I mean,
although, yeah, it's suspicious, but, whoa, king h8. Don't want to leave with the knight, huh? Okay, that's, yeah.
I don't know, maybe
Yeah, I mean-
I should take on f7. Maybe
With the
this
knight
is
and go knight g5.
maybe this is kind of crazy, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, computer would probably laugh at this, but for a human, I mean, I guess white could be psychologically rattled by like the sudden like activity of the bishops and the knight and the rook, right? And this could definitely be a practical try. I like.
Seems like a
I like your idea. Yeah,
practical
definitely.
try, right? Like if
Yeah.
black's queen gets to g5 or something.
Yeah, objectively bad, but
No, I
like,
mean,
yeah.
I have seen the idea like before, like, or at least the
Wow.
structure is not always. I mean, normally, to be honest, black's bishop is on c8, so it's like an even better version, right?
Okay.
Okay. But yeah, black like plays h3. It's just like the two bishops, they just provide this like.
Yeah, no, I like this idea a lot actually. Wonder if it's just the strongest idea. I mean, maybe Stockfish will disagree because it's material.
Oh yeah, let's actually.
Yeah,
let's
check.
just see why it's stupid.
Okay, so let's check from this position. It says knight hold on, knight h5, bishop h4. Oh, bishop c3. I can't just accept that. But okay.
Yeah, here it's.
h3 is pretty decent, and no, this it doesn't like.
Oh, there's bishop g5 also.
Oh, here bishop g5. That I did not see. That doesn't work then. Yeah, this moves.
That one's that's just very healthy pawn.
This is bad. White is coordinated still, right? So bishop takes c3. It says. At what point? At this point. And go f5. Well, this is or f6. I don't know about this one. No, I don't like this one. Maybe f5. Then the e6 square is just butter.
Yeah, it's definitely better for white.
Yeah, I don't like this idea now anymore. Maybe a 98 is the most practical try after all. Then 98 and then knight c7, right?
Yeah.
Something like that. e4, knight c7, and then a6. Yeah, I know it's nothing much. Yeah, so you're gonna play b5 anyway. So let's say if they play a4, we're gonna play b5, right? Yeah, this is something that could happen. C takes b5, and at least you got some play here. Although,
I mean, can we just go rook b8? What's the rush?
Oh, just no rush. Okay. Yeah, you're right. I can play rook b8 too. Yeah, this is true. And then what's the next move?
The trick is to not look at the engine evaluation when looking at these positions.
Right. That's true.
Because it's always. I mean, it's just the space. Stockfish really just loves the space so much. It's kind of insane. You really have to rein it in.
Okay, so this isn't a plan you could have tried, I guess. But white's better. What can you do, right? What can you do?
Yeah. Hey, shout out to Zaim A, who's like one of the only people participating in both chats, just like being super active.
Yeah, please check out Toast's stream. Go over there and give him some love, obviously. Okay,
Yeah,
let's
yeah,
keep
do
going
the
with the
Gauri
game. So,
command.
D5 was played, and then H6, a little bit slow, right? And E4. Okay, H3 was better, obviously, right? Stopping knight H5.
Yeah.
And now knight H5, very good move, right? Very good move. Eases the crampedness in black's position. Knight H4, well, that doesn't look like a good move. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, let's just keep going. I don't really get the idea.
Okay. Yeah, this move seems to be like there's a book I read about. I don't remember the name of the book, but the whole chapter was based on how edged pieces, how bad they are. That's definitely an edged piece, right? It does nothing.
Was it a book for beginners?
No, it wasn't a book for beginners.
Wow.
I think it was written by Grievous, actually. I don't know the first name, but a Grandmaster Grievous.
Stratos.
Yeah, exactly.
Way to say it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Edge piece. So it's a topic that you can have a whole lesson with the student, right? Just like don't put your piece on the edge. So I guess Gauri could really use a whole lesson emphasizing like how dangerous it is to put on the edge like this.
But I mean like.
Not me.
No, I mean Grievous. I mean he's a really serious coach, so I'm sure he's like writing good stuff. So no, I just think it's like it's not so black and white because it's just like what if black didn't have a G6 pawn? Then wouldn't knight be good on H4?
Sure. Generally speaking, right? This is man on the edge.
No, I think it's always just. There are just like openings where like white goes knight H4, knight F5, or like.
Okay, if it can bounce off, I say that knight on the rim is dim except when it can bounce off the edge.
yeah, I think it's always just kind of like it just kind of depends. Like, does the piece have a future or not? The knight can be on G3 and like have no future, right? Or can be on F3 in some cases.
I'm a little strict. I'm a little dogmatic when it comes to it because I teach so many kids and I see so many similar mistakes. I'm like, the moment I see something like that, it just like triggers me. Like, oh, why'd you put your knight on the rim like this? I gotta really hit him on the head there.
No, but that's why I asked if the book was for beginners because I understand like these rules for like total like beginner players are obviously really useful.
No, it wasn't for beginners. It wasn't for beginners. It was. I think probably like around 1800 or something. Probably. I'm not sure. Okay, anyway, keep going.
So yeah, speaking of moves of like putting pieces on the side, so bishop a6. Wait, but did you have a concrete idea? Like, are you trying to play knight e5, b3?
Yeah, I'm trying to play knight e5 to at least put some pressure on the pawn. But really, it's like I didn't feel like my bishop was doing much of anything on b7. I figure if I play bishop a6, even though it's like maybe overall it's not that great of a move, I figured at least it gave me the idea of trying to play knight e5 to pressure the pawn.
I see.
Right, because what I'm looking at in that position is it's not like white can play b3 to support it. So I just wanted to, like, this was a position where I felt like I was in a little bit of trouble and just trying to make sure that I got whatever activity I could find.
Okay, yeah, fair enough.
Not that bishop a6 is super active, but
yeah, I guess f4.
This is where I started to feel a little bit better actually about my position. Like I didn't see. I understand that f4 keeps my knight off of e5 certainly, but it seemed like the cost of that might be too high, right? Like the dark squares are just a roadmap to her king at this point.
Chessbait 94 says hi to Chris, by the way.
Oh, hi Bay.
Yeah, I can see what you're saying. I think we might be kind of happy as black to see this move.
Never push the f pawn, bend fine go. Just kidding.
Yeah, another rule that always works. White had like simpler options, like just like rook c1, I think, or a queen move, and then like knight e5, b3, and then f4 kind of like with tempo, if white wants.
Right, and I was expecting her to play something like rook c1 there. Right, it just seemed like a more logical choice. So when f4 came, that's when I kind of started feeling better about myself.
Yeah, definitely. So here, rook c1 is great. Is queen c2 with the idea of playing rook to e1? I'm not sure where the rook belongs actually. It's a good question, right? Where does the rook on a1 actually belong? Or is white already worse here? You know.
I don't know if white's worse. I mean, I feel like white should just play f4, knight f3, and just go for this e5 push again, if possible. I mean, it's hard, but
I actually don't agree with the f4 push at all. Like, I think white should just first regroup his pieces as much as possible, maybe. I mean, it just feels really risky. I mean, I could be playing it too safe. I think white should just go back knight f3, and then like wait until later to play f4, maybe.
So
I don't know.
It's reasonable, yeah. But knight f3, I mean, black goes knight e5.
Sure, and then maybe we can take some. We can
knight d2.
Okay. Maybe, yeah, maybe knight d2 is interesting. Like play f4 under better.
Because I think every piece trade here helps black.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's tough. I mean, maybe I think bringing back the knight.
We get e6. So I feel like.
But still, the knight on h4 was kind of okay. Maybe I mean it's a style, I guess. f4 aggressive or solid with coming back on d2.
I think if black gets e6, then it's probably a reasonable position. Not that f4 is good for white. I'm really not sure, because I mean the dark square bishop is just such an important piece here that it kind of feels like it's not really going to work out for white.
Okay, let's keep going.
So king h7, g4.
Yeah, right here when she played g4 is when I like all of my depression from earlier has now lifted. Right? Like this just seems so ridiculously overextended. I mean, I saw this idea of playing e5 very quickly. Almost instantly. I think I probably spent maybe a minute just to make sure I wasn't hanging something, and off I went. Like, I mean, her king just seems way too open here.
Yeah. E5 is nice. I like the move e5 if it works. Also because if you notice,
it works.
Yeah, it works, right? Okay. Because if you notice this, white has no bishop, and white just put one more pawn on the white square, and after e5 he's gonna lose the next pawn on white square. Then he has like every pawn on the center and the king side is on a white square, and then your bishop is a monster, and your queen is also a monster, and then just generally speaking, this move just it just basically like completely pulls the rug out from all the dark square support, right? Just completely destroys. Someone in the chat asked an interesting question: should you play check first and then e5? It's actually interesting. Although intuitively I feel like e5 first is better. Save the bishop for later. Don't show your hand, until you're sure bishop d4 check is good. But it's interesting. Do you consider that, Chris?
I considered it for a few seconds. The reason I didn't do it is essentially what you said there, Gauri, is I wanted to just kind of leave that move in my back pocket. I didn't see a reason to chase the king over right away. I also felt that after that move, if the knight comes back to f3, I don't want to wind up in a position where essentially I've hemmed in my own bishop. Right. Because that, like, right here, I feel like having that dark squared bishop has just bailed me out of any trouble I was in. And here I should be able to get something going. Like, her pawns are overextended. I should be able to just lash out with e5. And then because my bishop is still, held back and waiting to come into the game, I don't have to worry about suddenly finding it without any squares to move to and my attack fizzling me out.
Okay, so I love the move e5, and I love that you saw it so fast. And also I like this, there's something in chess, dynamically speaking, you can just check, okay, what did the last move unprotect? I think Maurice Ashley made a video about this, like, he called it Aikido chess. It's I guess martial art, right? Like, what did the last move just like unprotect? Oh, this last move just unprotected the knight. Okay, so let's take advantage of that immediately.
The drawback principle.
Right? Yeah, exactly. So I teach my students this a lot, actually, to incorporate this type of thinking into their chess. Always notice this. And I also use this in my own games, obviously. So yeah, great that you immediately use that principle to your advantage. So e5 X plan.
Yeah, so let's look at some lines here. Okay, so if d takes e6, what were you going to do here, Chris?
Let me remember the line I calculated.
Oh,
here.
Yeah, it's legal, yeah.
Oh, yeah, no. I check on d4, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Can I
guess
save the knight at the end of this?
I guess you could take on h4 as well.
Does this win a queen though?
Guess there's no huge difference. Well, rook
This wins,
f2.
like, yeah, well, this wins tons.
Right, but now I take, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And then
don't even,
so
can't even look at this anymore.
it's just over. Just queen f1.
I mean, then pawn takes, right? The
And-
slow killer move.
Of course. Yeah.
And then you take this guy, and then
Yep.
yeah, the floodgates are opened.
Yeah.
The floodgates are definitely open.
And yeah, you're not
Oh,
giving
man.
this one up. Play e5 if you have to. So that looks good.
Save for later. Yeah, I like the saving it for later bishop check. Yeah. Okay. It's visually kind of funny. Like you en passant, and then the bishop just goes to d4, right? Just kind of, you know.
Yeah, this theme is
Visually.
so interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, visually en passant, and then you suddenly check. It's kind of interesting.
No, it comes up in studies a lot where you have to like
Ah.
set up this like
Right. It's missable. It's missable. Okay.
crazy
let's
way.
keep- what else can he play?
So white goes g5, but yeah, it seems
Mhm.
like this is just kind of just hopeless for white already because
Mhm.
just like the dark squares are just completely collapsing. I don't even know how white can even try to save this. I think it's just like immediately over.
Right. Yeah, it looks pretty bad. So I guess just this one move g4 just completely destroyed white's game.
Yeah, I mean, okay, it kind of started with f4, but yeah, I mean, at this point, I feel like it's not that bad for white if they just go knight f3 and then just kind of take it a little bit slow.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's not so bad. White should be holding on pretty okay. Actually, here I wonder if black cannot go crazy and play f5. That'd be really bad actually. Not yet. Me, I was lecturing about not playing f4 and I'm playing f5 myself.
Why?
I was just
Because of
getting-
takes or what?
Yeah, it takes. Yeah, it takes.
And like,
I mean, yeah, bishop d3 and the knight h4 is coming. Then the knight on the rim is actually good.
oh, how did that happen? Did the rules of chess change?
Well, you can bounce to a better square. You can bounce to a better square. So then it's
Yeah,
fine.
that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, black should also take it slow. Maybe queen c7, try to play e6.
Yeah. I like queen c7, much more solid.
But
Right, rook e8. Rook e8 is coming too, right?
yeah, what do you think the engine will say here?
I think it'll say like, it's funny. Yes, engine likes space. I'm gonna say equal.
What do you guys think in the chat? Do you ever play this game?
Evaluate the position, please. Is
Well-
it equal?
Well, no, not evaluate. Guess what the Lee
guess the
Chess
engine
Lee
thing.
Chess
Sorry.
Stockfish engine
Yeah,
will say about.
like +1, -1 by Keegan. We got a lot of. I don't think it's -1. I think it's probably the average of the chat. Like +1, -1.
Yeah, I'll go with the wisdom of crowds.
Yeah. So in this question, I'll say equal.
So after knight f3 then, okay.
Okay, equal. All right. Yes. Or now it's saying 0.5. That's equal. That's close enough to equal, right?
Oh, I didn't guess yet, but I'll try.
Oh, sorry. I
Yeah, I thought it might be equal.
It says 0.5, yeah, but 0.5 human terms.
Wow, I found the best move, queen c7. Genius. Oh, not
It's
really.
queen c8, yeah.
Bishop c8. Yeah, it's giving me different moves actually. But it's
Now
like,
it says queen e8. Even Stockfish can't make up its mind.
but okay,
Queen
but
e8 looks artificial. But
if Stockfish is giving white 0.2 or 0.3 and a king's Indian, then the position has really gone
yeah,
bad.
exactly. Stockfish really overestimates space sometimes, right? So
Not
yeah.
sometimes, just
All the
like
time. All
yeah,
the time.
it's crazy.
it actually affects the preparation of all the top level players, right? Because like there was a game Wesley So and Nakamura, and Wesley So finds all the computer moves, and Nakamura just wins in the king's Indian because Wesley So's computer doesn't understand that all the space doesn't matter if you get checkmated, right? So
Yeah.
Yeah.
That game was very interesting. I mean, Naka kind of trashed Wesley So's prep after that game.
Yeah, he says don't follow. Yeah, just computer
Yeah, that was
blindly.
what, Singfield 2015?
Yeah.
It was it was a few years ago. It was a very
Yeah.
nice game.
Yeah.
Um,
So actually, I want to check if F4 was the best move. Okay, the engine kind of likes F4, but okay, what was the other move again? Knight F3, right? Okay, now it likes Queen D2.
But eventually it wants to go like F4 and
Actually
even
it does,
F5.
Yeah. True.
Even F5, Gauri.
Okay. 5. That's insane. Let me just. Probably this move is gonna be. Okay, it's okay. It's okay, but it's not the best. Yeah, Queen D2 maybe. I like Queen D2 because it kind of keeps the guy guessing.
Queen
right?
D2, Rook A1, F4, Knight
Yeah,
F3.
keeps him- yeah. Immediately F4 is probably not the best, but yeah, okay, F4 is fine, but G4 is definitely Horrible. Okay, let's keep going. I guess go to take the.
Yeah, let's see the carnage. So G5 takes knight F3, knight E5.
Actually, I think knight E5 is a good move, isn't it? Because the knight was the last protector of the dark squares here. So when you chop the knight off, then you can access those squares later on with your bishop, right? So and also this was a key defender for the king. He's the knight. So knight E5 is a nice move. Obvious, but still, I think it needs to be pointed out to the audience there.
For sure. Well, people kind of it's definitely a good exchange for black. I think people often kind of err on the side of exchanging pieces. But I definitely agree. In this case, it's definitely a very useful exchange. So take, bishop comes in. Okay, yeah, now we don't really need to take this h6 pawn. So bishop c8. I like this. Improve your worst piece. G3.
Oh, G3. Hold on, I wasn't paying attention for a second. G3. Did I see that right?
I mean, Queen H4 coming.
Queen H4 is coming.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, I should point that out.
G3 though, it's
possible.
Also pretty,
it's possible.
Yeah. G3. Wow. Okay, but that's fine. Let's keep going.
Probably just here.
Queen G5 is lethal. Maybe it's time for White to give back some material or something. I'm not sure. But it's hopeless. It's hopeless. Yeah, this bishop is worth like a rook in that position, at least.
Yeah, it's just so strong.
Yeah, it's okay. Then take, right?
Oh, there's a question: can black win the c4 pawn? I guess here the bishop on g7 is hanging, so black can't just take on c4.
Also priorities, right? Like the king is like, you can win the game or you want to win a pawn. Like get your priorities straight here.
Right. Yeah, we definitely don't want something like this. I guess we kind of brushed over this moment because it was is kind of like very intuitive, like, oh, of course, we just want to dominate. Yeah, but it might have been confusing for some people. Yeah, I mean, like, white takes the pawn, but the pawn is like totally inconsequential. And yeah, the most important thing for black is just like getting this bishop on d4, and then now white's king isn't just like a constant mating net for the rest of the game. And yeah, it's really just all about piece play at this point. Number of pawns couldn't matter less. Okay, so white gets some space for the king, but yeah, of course this can never be enough.
So I want to talk about this position for just a second. Because this actually factors into this game in a really big way. And I'm guessing I'm probably not the only one. Like, if you take me and all the members in the chat, I'm guessing there's probably quite a few people who have this kind of issue. So I'm looking at this position in the game, right? She plays the queen over to h1, and I'm realizing, okay, at this point, I'm my best bet is to exchange the queens, or at least that's how I felt, because I didn't think I was going to get anywhere if I play a move. Like, obviously I'm not going to play queen g5 or whatever, right? So I actually took her queen and I offered her a draw.
Whoa.
Right. See? Whoa. The problem is the way that I was looking at this position is that my attack is dead at this point, more or less. So everything's fizzled out. I should just bail out while I can. Now, of course, when I started looking at the game a little bit after the game, then it becomes much more obvious that what got played in the game, which is queen takes h1, rook takes h1, bishop e5, really the way I should be looking at it is that I'm just up a solid pawn. And it's a dangerous pawn. And I'm going to win another pawn.
Yeah, h6 pawn is cooked, basically, right?
Right. And so the problem that I have, and again, I'm guessing that a lot of people who are probably watching right now at least are aware of this in their own games from time to time, is this idea of like mentally switching from, I've got this great attack going, I'm just going to break through and checkmate her, to, oh, well, I guess the attack's gone. There, what could possibly be left? Like, it's difficult for me to mentally switch from one mode to the next. And again, after the game, when I start looking at the position, of course, it's perfectly logical that black is just much, much better here and completely winning. So luckily for me, she didn't take the draw.
Right. I'm also surprised that she didn't take the draw. This is like,
I'm sure she's not happy about it either now.
Right. No, but like, okay, so when you play Queen H4, were you expecting Rook takes G3, by the way, and then Bishop E5?
I wasn't expecting it.
Or kind of
honestly, yeah. Well, I was looking. Yeah, okay. Well, but I was also just looking at the idea that, I don't know. At this point, I'm just trying to get all my pieces into the attack, right?
Okay, but specifically, this move seems to be winning, increasing the attack.
Right.
And with tempo, I guess.
Right.
But yeah, Queen H1 was a good move by White. And yeah, like you said before, shifting psychologically from an attack to an ending is hard, and for everybody actually, right? I think for every level actually. So kind of like adjusting your goals, like, oh, my goal was to checkmate the king. Oh, now my goal is to just keep my position together, develop my pieces, and then win this pawn. Let's say, after trading queens, right? So
right.
Yeah, adjusting that, it's hard. It's very hard actually. A lot of people have this problem. For example, let's say somebody was winning in a game and then they lost their attack. They might, even if they're better, they might offer a draw, or even if they're, they might end up losing because they set their goals too high. They can't adjust to the position at hand, right? So, yeah, this is not just it's helpful for everybody to take note of that. I would say it's a critical moment then, right? A critical moment just passed in the game. A critical moment, like a change. So at that point, just like when you get to 40 moves in chess and you get that extra half an hour, right? And then you don't want to keep playing. Let's say you're like blitzing out your last 10 moves. You want to get up from the board, even if it's your turn. You want to get up from your board and get a glass of water, right? And then come back and sit down after 2 minutes because you want to, wipe off the momentum from your brain, right? And then stop the bullet mode, get the bullet brain out of there, basically, right?
Yeah, it should definitely be a hard rule for everyone. Like, if you have a second time control, to just always take a break when you and just reset. Even if like you have one legal move, I think I've seen like GMs will go and do this because they just know like, you gotta like get the adrenaline out, get all like the stress out of like the time pressure and stuff if there was any, and then kind of adjust to the new situation.
Thing I wanted to ask Chris was, what did you mean by playing it safe and offering a draw? Because can you elaborate on that?
Well, again, mentally, this, like, my thought process now needs to shift from I had this great attack going to let me just consolidate my advantage and try and press, right? But I wasn't looking at it like that. I was just looking at it from the standpoint of I had this attack, now my attack is gone. I guess I should just offer a draw. I've already blown my position by letting the attack fizzle out. Let me just split the point and go home, right?
And I see. You thought the game was over. I see.
Yeah. Well, it's not that I thought that it was over necessarily. It's just that I thought, well, I was looking at this like, okay, she'll probably pick up the G pawn. There's a couple of paths that look pretty clean to do that. So it's probably going to be even anyways. Let's just go home.
Right.
And I wasn't actually looking at the position or thinking of the situation in concrete terms of, okay, one thing is ended, but what do I have left now? Where do we go?
Yes. I like the word concrete. So it looks like you were seeing ghosts, I think.
Yes.
Yeah. So you're saying, okay,
fair way to put it.
Yeah, White's just gonna have 3 moves in a row, where two or three moves in a row, where after Bishop E5, he's just gonna pick up all these pawns. But you have things to do too. You can play F5, F4, right? Very quickly. So it's kind of like you're advocating for your opponent, and you forget to advocate for yourself.
Correct.
You don't want to advocate.
That's very true. That's very true.
You don't want to, because you're trying to basically emotionally you're ready to go home, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna convince myself of the reason I want to go home.
Right.
And I'm just gonna. This happens a lot actually. I offered a draw in one of the tournaments I played with Kosti, the GM tournament. I was +2. Materially we were equal, but I was +2, and I was just trying to find reasons to offer a draw, and I ended up offering a draw, and he accepted really quickly, because I was again like I was like, oh, this is not a big advantage. He'll probably do this, this, this. And then I'm like, what about my moves? Why can't I be my best advocate here? So I ended up drawing that game when I regretted it immediately afterwards. Actually, just instantly, like the moment I offered a draw. So I was low on time. You were both low on time, but yeah, it's definitely I think that's related to confidence, right? The more confident you are, the more you would like fight for your own ideas and be less worried about although you have to be worried about your opponent's ideas, but this is an extreme case of completely forgetting your own ideas.
Well, there's a lot of truth to that, and then also factoring in from the psychological side. This is somebody that I play quite regularly. Her and I meet in tournaments every couple of months, it feels like. I had a massive winning record at one point when she was, much weaker than she is now. I think maybe she then eventually held me to a draw, and then she won several games in a row, right? Like 2 or 3 or games in a row or whatever.
Okay.
So you get to the point where it's like, oh, okay, well, let me not screw it up again.
Okay, I see.
Right?
Okay.
Let me just like grab my ball and go home.
Yeah, fatigue. Yeah, yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Someone just saying fatigue is a factor too, which is true.
Yeah, I think everything you said, Gauri, I feel like was totally on point. Like, just, you got to learn to like adapt to the new situation. And I think there are changes that are way more subtle than this. I mean, here it's just like Black had a huge attack, and now Black has like just like a winning endgame. But there are cases where it's just like you were slightly better, and now you're slightly worse, and you got to make sure you don't keep like overextending before things get like really bad. And in those situations, they just get harder and harder to kind of like sense. I think actually Fisher was really good at the transitions, just like he would, often just go for the attack, but then so many of his games just like he finishes it in an end game.
And Magnus too, right? I think Magnus is very good, versatile player.
Yeah, Magnus. Yeah, definitely to like a much further degree, like sensing all of these like minor transitions. And as far as like the psychological side, I think there's a stereotype that Karpov was really strong mentally, and that like he could be defending a game for like 80 moves, but if he thinks he's like better on move 81, then he'll like decline the draw offer and just like straighten out, like take a sip of water and like start playing.
I'm the opposite. I was playing Sukop in a Grandmaster, like almost 2600 at that time. I was getting attacked for the whole game. He blunders a piece in time pressure, and the next move I take the piece and I offer a draw, and I'm like, I can just play on and win the game. I can literally just play on and win the game. I take the piece and offer a draw, like it's just like I don't know what happened there, right? I still think I'm worse or something. I didn't even like look at the position. I just like, I just defended everything. I offered a draw. We were both like under 30 seconds at that point, and he immediately took it, and I could just play on and win the game. So I took the piece and offered a draw.
That's how you know you messed up, when the GM doesn't even think before accepting your draw offer.
Yeah, right. Shake hands right away. Yeah.
And Chris, you're just playing like a run-of-the-mill, higher-rated player. Imagine when you're playing someone with a title and you're like better in the end game, and like they're offering you a draw. Now you have to like politely decline because you think you're better, which I hope you do.
Yeah, actually the strongest player I ever beat in a tournament game was just a little under 2,300. Actually, Gauri, you'll know him. It's Ken Wallach.
Yes, I heard of Ken. Yes.
Yeah. So he's a Chicago guy, and he offered me a draw when I was in a much better position, and I knew it was a much better position, and I turned it down flat. I didn't have an issue with that. And honestly, in this game, one of the things that I was happy with is the fact that after offering the draw that I offered and having it declined, almost right away I realized how foolish I had been to offer that draw. Nice. Here in a few more moves, she's going to re-offer the draw, and I didn't even consider it. I just simply turned it down and kept playing. Mm-hmm. But I was glad that I was at least able to do something of a reset fairly quickly, after trying my best to screw it up.
Yeah, it's definitely like interesting case of almost like mutual blindness, because you offered the draw thinking that you're no longer better, and then she played on thinking that like she has some winning chances here, which I think is probably very, very incorrect.
F5 is a great resource.
So
I think
F5?
this is the resource that really wins Black the game, I think, right?
Kind of wins immediately. I think
right.
Black can do anything. F6 here looks totally good.
That was the other move I considered, F6.
Like bishop G4. I think, Black is not only up material, but like any bishop trade is fine. even like opposite color bishop endgame with rooks on the board would be like totally winning. So it's just like basically I think almost any outcome here is working for black.
There
Okay,
we go. Okay.
bishop
good.
d3. Now black has some choices.
Also, I was wondering why black didn't take with the pawn, and then playing f4. Oh, did I miss a pin here? Oh yeah, bishop d3 is annoying, right?
I guess so.
Although even that position, I think at king h6, and then you trade everything, you should be winning that, right?
Talking about this.
King g6, yeah, taking g6, and either rook f8 or rook h8, and then you just go to h2.
Yeah, I mean looks really strong. This is the strongest bad bishop ever.
Yeah, and then you just yeah, this is just too much.
Right.
So maybe you could have taken with the pawn actually, but I mean bishop f5 should be okay. I mean it looks good because you're developing a piece, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's just.
Does it transpose? Does it transpose to the game? Oh, it transposed.
Oh,
Yes.
is it similar?
Why didn't you tell me?
Oh, that's
Yeah,
funny.
I just wanted to see what your idea was.
That's pretty good.
No, and honestly, yeah, when I played this, I had realized the original line that I was looking at, she was going to be able to put a rook on the 7th, and she was going to get a rook to f7. In the original line, I calculated, and then I realized, yeah, no, if I just do it the other way, where I take on h6 instead of messing around with, I think I was looking at
this one.
Yeah. No.
Whoa.
Yeah. Takes, and
That's
then
interesting.
king
Yeah, I like
takes,
that one.
and the rook comes down to f7. Right. So I was looking at that, and I was like, well, this is probably still okay-ish, but not great. Certainly, my rook's going to be passive for a while, and then I realized, oh no, I can avoid all this nonsense and just play the line I
Interesting.
played in the game.
No, I mean you're right, Chris. But I mean, for the record, this is totally fine for black.
Yeah, you can just go here, I think. And then you're coming along with this anyway, I believe, right?
Yeah, you can give up 3
Oh,
pawns
yeah,
on the
right.
queen
And
side.
if he goes here, you're gonna mate the king. You're gonna go for mate. Like
Yeah, you're right.
you're gonna go for mate here. This is mate for sure.
Um,
Some check and queening and everything is happening with tempo. So
Yeah, not particularly relevant, but yeah, just
okay, cool. Let's keep going.
his end
The
games
main
are.
game.
But I mean, this is totally.
That's actually where she offered the draw, by the way, was when she took on f5 the first time with the rook. Right? She offered the draw right there, and I just was like, no, we'll play.
Yeah, it's a little bit late now.
Right.
No, I mean basically it's so good for black because it's like, I mean, the bishop is just rock solid. It's like defended by the pawn. Pawn is defended by the bishop. So everything in black's position is defended, and this just creates this like dark square barrier that's just very difficult for white. And then he also gives the rook like these active points on h2 and f2. Because the rook is always trying to get into the 7th rank, and now you basically have an outpost on the 7th rank, which is
Yeah,
just
and that
very
was
powerful.
the whole idea here, was just to be able to swing the rook around.
Yeah. Okay, so rook h2.
And then, yeah, the game.
Oh yeah, this is what I predicted this already.
Yeah, the game was just over.
Okay.
Nice.
Good game, yeah.
Nice
I like
one.
this. Yeah. Instructional content for sure. Someone asked me if I was doing a 24-hour stream, but probably not today, but we will definitely go a long time today. Okay, so pawn move, right? That g4, how careful you have to be with the pawn move, right? Especially in front of your king. Definitely.
Yeah, and like I said, when she played f4, I already was feeling better than I had felt. Because at least I knew there were some weaknesses starting to creep into her position. But once she played g4, that's, immediately I was like, okay, I'm fine here.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have a lesson. I mean, I have a lesson like that I taught. Not like I have to go. I have a lesson. I mean, I have a lesson for everybody, including everybody. Including you and Chris. Similar opening game. Unless there's something else you want to do on your agenda, Kostya, I can show that game really quickly.
Oh, sure. No, I just want to wrap up on this game. I mean, basically,
sure, yeah, of course, yeah.
feels
Go ahead.
like in the opening, I think was pretty instructive because I think both players could have definitely played this better. And it kind of shows just how many varieties there are in the opening, how many like different structures you can play, even within something that's considered kind of like, London system is considered kind of like a one one trick pony kind of thing. But no, it can actually lead to like a bunch of different types of positions. And then yeah, it just seemed like white just wasn't comfortable with playing this type of position. I don't know what her repertoire is. Maybe she hasn't really played like a lot of d4 c4 stuff or something. But yeah, definitely misplayed it once. Starting with this like knight h4, I think it really just gave black a lot of just way too much play on the dark squares. But very instructive on how to kind of like exploit this just like, you know, immediate overextending, especially without a dark squared bishop. Because I definitely remember doing stuff like this with white when I was first starting out, like playing like d4 c4, trying to like naively crack the king's Indian.
By the way, knight h4 bad confirmed. Knight h4 bad confirmed.
Oh, here, yeah, absolutely.
My theory is still. I mean,
oh my
of
God.
course, white could have. Don't put your knight on the rim, guys. Confirmed.
But bishop h4 was a good move here, I think.
Right. I mean, I'm talking about knights. Bishops are fine. Bishops
By the way, Chris, did you bishop h4 g5, and then if white goes like knight d2 here, did you have some plan?
No, I didn't even consider knight d2.
Oh, okay. I mean, it's well, thematic idea like we saw in the other line. Here it's like
I mean,
you get to take
here,
first.
Can't I play knight to f4?
Yeah, you can do this one as well. I think
I like knight f4. Yeah.
this works, and well, maybe take on e2. Or would you say knight g6?
Maybe, or maybe I like knight g6 here actually, but maybe not.
Yeah, you just don't like weak pawns.
Yeah, we'll just take this. Yeah, you're right. We'll take this. We'll take this.
I think it's
Yeah, we'll take it.
kind of reasonable. I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
because we have some weaknesses here. I don't wanna give that bishop a chance to get the weaknesses.
I feel like black could take here, because here it's like
Yeah,
White-
here it's standard, like Benoni idea, right?
white doesn't
Go for
even
this.
get like queen g4. Yeah, but
Chronicles of Benoni. Yeah, for sure.
can be a little bit risky.
Yeah.
All right, Chris. Well, thanks for the game, and I feel like you're in this one because last week you showed like a loss, so you get to show a win this time around. I feel like it's
I just
only
wanted
fair.
to show a game that I felt would be instructive. You know, like I knew early on I wasn't playing optimally. I thought the attack was nice, but then I also really wanted to focus on the idea that I offered a completely improper draw in a completely winning position.
Yeah, don't do that, guys.
Right. Bad, right? Very bad.
Yeah, that was interesting. Yeah, I mean, I've definitely done stuff like that where I just didn't recognize that I still have an advantage. You know, that's pretty common. But yeah, I think it's just like matter of experience. People just need a lot of practice. Like, there's so many of these like mental difficulties in a chess game that come up.
I think in chess you gotta be like a monk and a beast at the same time, right?
Right.
It's a good one.
Both at the same time.
But yeah, I appreciate both of you taking the time to go through the game with me. It was very instructive.
Okay, you're welcome, Chris. Thank you for showing us the game.
Thanks, Chris. Take care.
Have a great rest of your stream.
Awesome.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.